action, action. Lights, camera, action. Let's go. Lights, camera, action, action. Pop up a little, pop up a little.
I'm Mark Ramsey. I'm so excited today to be talking to Sean Gailey. Sean is the Creative Overlord is the title, right?
That's correct.
You're also the owner, but Creative Overlord is a lot more
sexier.
Sexy and scary, yeah. Of a company called Jinx, JINX.com. Now, what is Jinx? Jinx is, you call it a lifestyle brand.
Right.
Now, I'm fascinated by that because, you know, on a very superficial level, what Jinx does is designs T-shirts and clothing.
Yeah, T-shirts primarily, clothing, right.
So where's the line between T-shirts and clothing and lifestyle brand? And the reason I ask this is because from my audience of broadcasters, you know, they're all lifestyle brands, or at least they should be lifestyle brands, but they think of themselves as these things that, you know, play music and have personalities and so on, but it adds up to something more, and that's a lifestyle brand. So what is that?
Well, for us, it might be a little different for everyone, but for us, Jinx is all about the gaming and geek lifestyle. So everybody that we hire, one of my first, you know, interview questions is, what do you do with your free time? Because that's the most important thing. Everybody that works at Jinx has passion for what they do and what they love, and usually heavily in this world, comic books, video games, you know, reading fantasy novels, you know, geeky movies that come out nowadays. It seems, you know, there's a lot of great ones coming out now, and so outside of work, that they live it, and then when they come into work, they inject that into the brand, and you know, we do have, so it comes out in the clothing as well, you know, just the design and the way we implement it, and but you can also find it on our website in the community section of our site, which is very active. It's half of our effort goes into the community side, which is trivia. We have a really active commenting system all throughout our website and all our products and every area of the site. We have a gold and EXP program that, you know, like a reward system essentially for leveling up on our website. Every single place that we touch our customers and interact with them, we want them to feel like, you know, they're part of the Jinx brand. And what does that mean? You know, our hold music, it was, you know, we spent a lot of time designing our hold music so that it comes out everywhere. You know, what does it mean when you're wearing a shirt that just says Jinx on it? We want that to be obvious to everybody that knows the brand. They say, oh, that guy's shirt says Jinx. I know what that means. You know, that says something to me. Well,
and how do you get to that point? Because, you know, again, the average broadcaster with the average station and the average playlist and the average DJs and so on, they're saying, look, I'm a rock station. You know, I want to be followed by the same people, by a similar group of people, or an alternative station. I'm interested in a similar group of people as the people who wear Jinx clothing. You know, I've seen the cars. I've got a car in my neighborhood. There's a Jinx bumper sticker, and there's an apple right next to it.
Right.
You know, and how do you get to that point? I mean, what do you need to understand about people in order to take it from we create clothing to we are a lifestyle?
That's a great question. I think, like in terms of radio, you know, their product is to some extent is the songs. You know, the songs that they're playing, they're like, okay, we're playing it for this audience. You know, rock or alternative or country or whatever it is. But that extra step beyond, it really, I think, comes from the people that, you know, the DJs, the people that are running the station, the way the promotions are handled, the way that the cuts between the songs are, the stuff that they do outside of that to promote at different events, and every single way that they interact with their customers, it needs to be authentic, and you can't really manufacture that. It has to just be in the person. You know, like when I listen to stations, certain stations and certain DJs, I can hear it coming out in their voice how much they love the music, and you know, so one of our main one of the drives behind our videos, because we do a lot of video work, is who we are, what we do. Because I think that Jinx really is largely the Jinx crew, the amazing people that work at Jinx, and I want everybody to get to know them, because I think that showing that they live the lifestyle and how that they live it and breathe it every single day, I think that builds credibility for our brand and authenticity.
So what you're saying with the video stuff that you're doing, the who we are and what we do, again, it would be easy to say, but you create clothing, you design clothing. Why do you need to do this? There's a lot of stuff that you're describing, as you put it, one step beyond. What's the incentive for people to go one step beyond in this day and age when, the economy is such that people, if anything, are cutting back? People are being stretched, fewer resources. So the thinking is, well, let's get back to the bare bones. Where our purpose is to sell. We sell paper, or we put music out over the air. And what you're saying is, we don't just sell T-shirts and other merchandise.
Right.
So what's the incentive to go that one step beyond in this day and age?
I mean, making that decision to go that extra step, I know what you're saying. Like, we run into that at Jinx too, where it's like, oh, we don't have enough time, or we don't have the money to justify that right now because it's hard to measure that expense, in terms of marketing. Like,
what
did it do for us? You can't see it immediately in sales typically. And so I would say, like, if you're just selling paper, it's going to be a lot harder for you. You have to think, you have to be more creative. It's going to be harder. So, for us, we do art on our shirts, so we can bring it out in our designs. So it's a little easier for us from that perspective. But don't get me wrong, you have to go. If you don't go that extra step, people are not going to see the 5 steps you took. They might see 2 or 3, because they're not looking at it as closely as you are. They're on your website for however many seconds and then they're gone. Where you're staring at it and you say, oh, I did this and I did that and we did that. They might only see one of those things. So you have to go you really have to make a concerted effort to get yourself out there and get your messaging out there.
Well, isn't it also beyond that the things that people pay attention to are the things that get them excited, that surprise them, that delight them, that go one step beyond, that make them say, wow. And those things are not necessarily in the knitting of the products you create, right? That's something beyond you're talking about, like the videos. Perfect example. You create these videos. You take the time, you take the resources, you take the people, you create these videos. They have many hits, they have few hits, who knows? But the issue is, what's the relationship between that and what you do? And what you're saying is that there's a feeling like it enhances the authenticity. It makes it easier for you to, sell your stuff repeatedly to people who in fact want to buy it repeatedly because of this additional layer?
Yeah, I really do think that it makes a big difference in our sales. One of the reasons I think a lot of the game companies out there want to work with us now is just because of that. So from a business to customer perspective, it makes a big difference with our customers. We're regularly told that, we want them to know we're an underground, a smaller company. We're not a big faceless corporation where I sit in a suit in a big office somewhere, it's like that just doesn't happen. But also in a business to business, working with other people, forming partnerships. We only form partnerships, or we try to limit our partnerships to people that feel that same brand, that are authentic, that are genuine, because, lending our brand to what they're doing and vice versa, it's just another way that your brand can become tarnished, is making bad associations.
How do you maintain attention with people nowadays? I mean, especially with your audience. I mean, there's a zillion distractions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's always the next cool thing to hop onto. There's always the next trend to climb aboard. How do you maintain relevance as a brand, as a lifestyle brand, with that audience that's moving as fast as anything?
We've seen a lot of the spikes in our traffic come from really unique product launches. So, for example, we just released these. Our designer Samantha made these knee-high socks that are inspired by Portal 2, one of our licenses that we have, and that product got a lot of attention. It was really unique and fun, and we sold out immediately. So it's those unique product launches that drive people back to Jinx. You got to stay fresh. You got to evolve or die. We just launched a new website. Again, one of those expenses where you're like, how do you justify it? It's like, my site works fine like it is. To do a whole redesign, it was so much work.
Well, what's the answer to that question then? How do you justify it?
You do or you go out of business. I mean,
So in other words, you're saying that the feeling is, look, if we don't stay ahead of our comfort zone,
yep.
we will fall behind somebody else's.
It's evolve or die is the way that I look at it. You know, if especially in a world where, you know, with the internet, and like you said, I mean, you nailed it when you said that. It's like there's so many new things coming out every day. How do you stay relevant? I mean, you just have to continue to be relevant. You have to continue to release fresh products. You have to continue innovating. And, you know, I always say that creative is some of the hardest work that you can possibly do. It's just thinking. And it's a big part of what we do at Jinx too. And I mean, you absolutely just have to continue to be creative. There's no easy answer to it. It's really hard work. All I can say is tread lightly and don't lose your core values, and don't, you know, when I start to see things slip, I have to rein them back in. And if you really do stay true to your brand, you know, you will always lose those fans that are like, you know, once that band got popular, they suck, you know. I like their early stuff. You hear that all the time, right? As far as like promotional stuff, when you're going out and touching your customers, I think that that's massively important. And it, like we talked about earlier, it's hard to attach an ROI to that, but I think it's really important. And so getting your DJs out there, assuming that they're DJs that that are living the lifestyle that you were portraying on your station or that you're trying to project, getting them out there in the public, getting them out in front of cameras, you know, I think that disseminates to the people you're trying to reach, and they're going to remember that.
It also appears to me that in the Jinx case, you're deep into the lifestyle of the brand mirrors the lifestyle of the audience. So understanding who those people are, what drives them, what delights them, what we can provide to them, what isn't necessarily just limited to what we sell, but what lives in the lifestyle around what we sell, is really, really relevant. And that's something that I don't see happening all that much on radio stations, where the feeling is, let's, you know, on the website, let's tell them what we're playing, let's tell them who's on the air, let's, you know, show them some headlines from the news, whatever, and that's it.
Yeah, that, you know, really understanding your audience, because it changes so fast, like you said, especially for us in the internet world. It changes so fast, and you have to stay. I mean, everybody's got their news feeds and their websites that we regularly go to because we love to, and it just goes around the office. Links get passed around regularly, keeping up with what's going on, you know, just because we love to, but we have to as well, you know. It's really important to stay on top of that thing, because that's what our customers like.
So much of what happens in the world of broadcast, and it's not only broadcast, especially when it revolves around the digital platform, is, okay, I will do this, but how do I monetize that? How do I make $1 off plugging this in? How do I make $1 off plugging that in? None of these things you're talking about in and of themselves are revenue generators, right? The feeling is that if you bring more people more often to your site and create more interest around the lifestyle brand, that will translate to having the desirability and the wish to buy this stuff, right? So isn't that an argument to say, you know, maybe don't be so anal about monetizing every element of the site, and instead create a destination that's worth visiting,
right?
Such that people are interested in aggregating around it and the brand it represents.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. You know, I really can't put it better myself. I think you really can't look through a microscope at those things and try to find the dollars in them. I do think to some extent the social media, it kind of got out of control. You know, everyone has a Twitter and a Facebook, and everywhere you see them or hear them talk, it's like, go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter. And I think at this point, it's been overemphasized, and we need to be more creative about the ways in which we're reaching out, you know, getting right in on some of the new social media stuff, trying it out and seeing how it works for you. It's like you have to continuously be innovating. And this applies to every single business out there. You cannot just... If you're doing something because you saw it on ABC, it's probably too late for you to focus all your attention on it. You know, it's like innovation and being creative. It needs to be at the front of your company if you want to grow what you're doing. You know, people have to look at you like an innovator, not just because otherwise you're just another person doing the same stuff that everyone else is doing.
Sean Gailey is the creative overlord of Jinx.com, JINX.com. Check it out. Sean, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.